Welcome to another episode of Season 3 of the Panjwai podcast. As usual, you can find our episodes on YouTube, Facebook, and your favorite podcast platform, whether that's Spotify or Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio. You pick it, we're there.
If you want to support the podcast financially, we've set up a few ways for you to do so this season. You can become a patron by hopping over to patreon.com/thepanjwai podcast and sign up for a small monthly donation. If you want to make a one-time donation, you can find us on Venmo at the Panjwai podcast. And last but not least, we've got a small selection of merchandise in our store. So if you head over to thepanjwaipodcast.com and click on the store tab, you'll see stickers and other merchandise, and who knows what might come down the pipeline.
All that I can hope is you take me with you when you go. I guess I should have known I can't leave with you when you go. Now Cow Island is awfully quiet, with your screen door staying closed. And if I learned French like you told me, baby, I would hear your ghost.
Yeah, no, that's fucking miserable, man. Like, it would be different if I had, like, no emotional or psychological connection with anybody. So, like, Tom Evans, he doesn't know any of these people. Mayar, they don't know any of these people. They're just a squad that was thrown into a situation. Whereas I knew these dudes. Like, I know.
Right, yeah.
Like, I know what's happening. And, like, I can listen to the radio and hear it. And, like, I would call Sperwan Ghar every fucking night. And I'm like, sir, somebody needs to get me out of here. First, somebody, like, I was calling like every night on the phone because like it just wasn't good for me. I couldn't take being there. Like, that's not who I'm a fucking fighter. Like, I need to be there. And more than that, I need to be with my guys. And finally somebody listened to me, and I finally got pulled back over to Sperwan Ghar. And I saw what happened. I think they kind of like, we need to give some dudes who are like under some stress a reprieve, and like give them a break, and like let's put some fresh meat in. And when I went back to 3rd Platoon.
What was your impression? Like, because, you had seen all this stuff from a distance for, 3 months or whatever. And then you got over there. Like, what were you thinking when you got there? Like, could you see in the guys, like, what was going on? I mean, what was your impression?
That close to breaking, which is why I thought it was important that I went on every patrol. Like, they were that close. I mean, that close, man. Now, like, when I showed up, it was like a collective sigh of relief. And they were like,
yeah.
They were like, okay. Like, for the older guys, for the newer guys. So again, like, the squad leaders weren't my squad leaders. So Eddie Adams was there, who came from, I think, Cotton Bears, maybe.
Yeah, I think he came from 2-7 also.
Yeah. Tad Garver was there, and then Jeff. Garver.
I forgot about Garver. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Maddox was there. Because we had like Eddie Duff, and obviously, like, there was a lot to process for him. And he wasn't there, and then Dave Campbell. I know BJ hit him hard, and like, so.
Yeah.
They weren't there anymore. And like, I came in and like, okay. And I took over first squad, and I had like Alex Heaton, Brandon Era, like Tijarina Trejo, so TJ.
Mm-hmm. There's some killers, man. Those are really good dudes.
Juan Galvan was there, and McNeil also. So like, we were extremely short.
Yeah.
We you know, that was kind of, and I was, you know, perfectly fine. Like, it was like falling right back in, and like Alex Heaton was like, so I roomed with him. Like, just for those who don't know, like, he's a Taylor Swift super fan. And,
Is he really?
Dude,
So was Miguel Perez. That's all we fucking heard for 8 months.
Fucked me up. Like, he sat on the computer on iTunes, like, waiting till Afghan midnight time, whatever time it was that equaled midnight in New York, for the release of Red. Is that the album?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, waiting to download it. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
Alex, are you fucking kidding? Like, I thought he was just... I just thought he was
Joking.
fucking around, dude. No,
Yeah.
he was legit, bro.
Yeah.
I can't believe there were 2 of them.
Yeah, he was legit.
We had
dude.
one
There
too.
were 2
Hey, man.
Swifties on the cup.
Taylor
Wow.
Swift, bro. She crosses all
T-Swizzle.
walks of life, my friend. You know?
That's
Yeah,
too
dude.
funny.
And they, you know, that was them, and they were awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Eric and Heaton,
Mhm.
TJ. So we did a couple patrols with Galvan and McNeil. Now, one of them was like the Najat Death March. Oh my god, that was probably the single most exhausting event of my life. And
Run us through this, because I mean, I remember that happening, but like you said, platoons, you have different experiences, so I don't remember the details of this.
so we were gonna do a joint patrol in Najat with that. Who were they? ANA, or were they AL? They weren't ALP. There was no.
No, they were
such-
AN.
They were ANA. They had like this little compound that sat on like some high ground or something, right? So we gave some people to, I think, John Mahoney, and somebody else sat down with a sniper rifle or an M14 to provide overwatch, and we went out on a on a patrol, a joint patrol with the ANA. I'm like, out the gate, we're probably 40 minutes into this. Oh fuck, dude! Like, already. Now, like, I mean, I'm almost black on water. We've only been walking for like 40 minutes. I'm like almost black on water, and I'm like, I have to do something like to self-sustain. And then I'm like looking at my dude. So it sounds stupid, but I carry packets of single spam slices in my pocket. So I pull one out. We're in a firefight, and I'm just like, you know, I'm eating some shit to make sure I don't go down.
Sure. Lots of
Yeah.
salt, lots of calories.
Yeah,
That's not a bad idea.
exactly. And then like I throw them to the rest of my squad, and I'm like, fucking eat. When they're like, what is going on right now? Like,
I'm getting spammed in a firefight.
yeah. And I'm like, eat. And they're like, dude. And later on, they'd be like, dude, do you remember we were in that firefight and you're like throwing spam at us and shit? Like, eat. And I'm like, yeah. Nah. You know, and it's not an overly long or vicious firefight. Just a couple dudes, and like we're in a fight. But like I'm running to jump a wall. I'm like, dude, this killer pain shoots through my hand, and I was like, fuck, dude, I just got shot in the hand. I just got stung like by this Afghan
bees,
yellow
those
jacket
hornet
or
things.
something.
Oh, yeah.
And it went through
That-
my glove. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It was like the killer jacks or whatever those things are from the Hunger Games.
Oh, the murder
and shit,
wasps.
man. Murder, yeah. I'm like,
murder
it-
Yeah,
hornets.
it's like the Afghan version of murder wasp. Man.
Yeah,
Those
like,
things
it went
really
through
light
my
into
glove.
you, and it's like getting, man, it's like somebody just whipped your ass. With a
oh
belt.
man, I thought I got shot. And I didn't. I just got stung by this fucking bee. And we continue our patrol, and like there's hellfires from drones trying to kill this dude. Anyways, the point is like, and there was another firefight. At some point, the entire platoon is like black on water, and we're like in the hurt locker for real. And like, I'm like Afghan shit water from streams to like wet my lips, and like we were bad times, bro. Now we finally circle back. No, like this whole patrol and like this movement lasted all day. And the Najat ain't even that big, and it was just nuts. And it was like a cat and mouse game. Like we were trying to get this dude, and like the drones would fire a hellfire And like he would disappear for a little while and come back up, and like so it was like we were just cat mousing with these dudes trying to smoke him. But whatever, the patrol ends, and like we get back in the Humvees, and like the drivers and the gunners never left, and like we're leaving, and we're on the it's the paved road, right? And we're on the culvert, and like boom!
Oh god!
And like
fucking IED.
And I yelled, and I was like, "Fuck! They broke my foot!" And I'm yelling in the truck, and I was so mad. But do you remember that the MAVs had that little blue rubber mat on the ground? I just thought about this right now. It was to disperse like the energy from IEDs. That's what saved my foot from being broke. I'm pretty sure. Like, and I was like, and we disappeared in like this cloud of smoke. But like McNeil is still driving forward. And I'm like looking at him, and I was like, stop. And he was just like
in the zone.
No, he was like, he totally reverted to like PTSD, McNeil, and like couldn't anymore, just couldn't. And like I'm like trying to get him to stop. Like he was my driver, I was the TC. Heaton was sitting behind me in the dismount, and then Galvan was sitting in the dismount seat as the gunner, because it was a Crow truck. So we tried to make the front trucks the Crow truck, so that way a gunner, he wouldn't be exposed.
Right.
And it was a Crow truck.
Ejected if he hits a 50-pound IED.
Right. So like combat remote operated weapon system. Just think of a video game. And it had the mine roller on it. But like McNeil is still driving, and I'm like, stop. We can't see where we are, and I know we're not on a road. Stop. And finally he stopped, and then I could like look at the rest of the crew to kind of gauge to see how they were. And like Heaton was fine. He's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, clearly we just got blown up. I looked over my shoulder to look at Galvan, and like he's got the stupid he's got like the stupidest look on his face. Like his mouth's just open. He's like, and like his eye pro disintegrated. Like there was like the arm was on his ear, but there was like nothing else. Like his eye pro just like disintegrated, and like he's got this stupid like look on his face, like, and like I'm like, okay, he's okay, but he's just an idiot. But okay. And then like the smoke kind of clears a little bit, and we were on the culvert. We were like that far from rolling over, like 10-12 feet into the ditch. And I was like, Jesus Christ, McNeil. But he was like in complete shock, dude. Like he was in straight PTSD mode. And like they're calling back, they're like, dude, are you guys okay? And we're like, yeah. I was like, yeah, we're fine. I think I broke my foot, but we'll see when we get back. And they're like, do you want to get out and check? Fuck no, I don't want to get out and check. Fuck no, I don't. What's wrong with you? I'm still in the kill zone. No, I don't want to get out and check. And I said, I think my foot's broke, but I'm going to drive this truck as far as it'll go. And like, you can hear it. There's no AC, and like it's making noises and shit. And I'm like, I'm going to push this thing as far as it'll go. And when it stops, then we'll figure that out. And so we took off, and like just left without exploiting it or anything like that. But
don't worry, we did that for you.
Oh yeah, no, that was a different. I hit that IED also.
Oh really? So
that was a different one. That was like 120 pounds. This one was like 40 pounds. And it kind of just picked the truck up, and like Eddie Adams was the TC behind us. He was like, dude, I thought you were gone. He was like, it picked your truck up a little bit and then slammed it down, and then you were in a cloud of smoke. And I was like, yeah.
I think this is the one, because this was over a culvert. It was a huge hole. It went all the way down to the stream. And that's the one where we were out there filling a hole with concrete for 6 hours. It was in Najat.
Because I hit 2 in Najat.
Oh, okay.
I hit 2 in. One was like 120, but it was in the open, kind of. and like by open fields and wall.
Oh no, this was on the road. This was
Yeah,
cold
yeah. I mean,
one.
both of them were on a hard ball.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one was like in that S turn. There's like that S turn.
That's okay. Then maybe I guess that was
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we pushed back, and the truck had damage and shit, but it made. I mean, and that's the thing about combat vehicles. Like people are like, dude, the LMTV is not gonna make it or something. Like, bro, this thing's designed to work with bullet holes in it. Trust me, it can go.
Right.
But the Mav V pushed, and
Dude,
we went back.
I love the Mat V. I've heard so many people
Mat V's
talk
a
shit about it. I'm like,
great
I don't
vehicle.
understand. Like that thing saved
Yeah,
my life
it's a great
multiple
vehicle.
times.
I'm telling you, like I have hit IEDs and Humvees and
Right.
And Bradleys. Like, if I was in a Humvee in any of those IEDs that I hit in Afghanistan, maybe not that one. I'd be fucked up. But that 120 pounder, I'd be dead. Dead as fuck. If I was in a Humvee, I wouldn't be here right now.
My first one, if I hadn't been in if I had even been in a Max Pro instead of a Mat V, I'd be dead. For
Yeah,
sure,
I don't
100%.
like the Max Pro, man. The Mat V is where it's at.
Max
Like
Pro's
that is
piece of shit.
that is a
Yeah.
good vehicle.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
vehicle.
I was super glad with the Mat V. It's like low center of gravity. It can hoss it over terrain. Like it's got good.
Yeah,
over,
and it didn't
like,
feel so
terrain,
top heavy. The
abilities.
Max Pro, I just could not get
the Max
behind.
Pro, man. You're always feeling like almost
swaying.
rolling them fuckers in Iraq, dude. Just trying to. Well, it broke, and I had the pedal to the metal, going 30 miles an hour. We cut this out. It's a stupid bullshit story, we were just rolling down Route Tampa, and there was an Iraqi police blockade thing, but because something had fucked up in the truck, I had to keep the hammer down. Like my leg was literally shaking by the time I got back because I was pushing the pedal all the way down to keep the gas on, and it was going 15, 20 miles an hour. And I had to go down into that median and back up to the side and back up on the other side of Route Tampa.
Yeah, I did
And when I
Tampa.
did that, it went like "Tkoo," and it just went. Whoo, whoo, and I thought, this is it. This is I'm gonna die and I roll over.
Roll over, baby.
on Route Tampa.
But yeah,
But anyways,
Najat was Najat when we were back, and it was good. And I think it was like a couple days later, Dino lost his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were walking, and there was a firefight earlier. And I was like, dude, this place is fucking awesome. Like Afghanistan is where it's. I've never understood people's like aversion to it or whatever. Like, but Afghanistan is like the true infantryman's war. Like it was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
But we were in a firefight, and we're like, we're returning fire and shit, and we're trying to move. Like it's everything that a girl could dream for. And it was awesome. Now, we're walking, and this was before like, we knew what those stupid rock formations were and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, we turn off a path and we're through a field, and it like terraced, and so half of the platoon was up on the high terrace, and half was on the low terrace. Now, all you just hear, and again, like I think this is the second firefight of this patrol, and like I went running up to Jimmy, and like everybody, nobody's returning fire or anything. Everybody is just like face down in the dirt because like they were like, it's like point blank, and they just opened up
there.
and they're just like in the dirt. And I ran up to Jimmy, and like, I'm the only idiot who's like standing up and running and like on a knee, and I took a knee right next to him, and I'm like, sir, and I'm shaking him, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on, man? And he's like, he just turned he's like this, he turns his head to the side, and they're shooting at us. and I was like, yeah, roger that, sir. Yeah, thanks for being so insightful. And I grabbed my squad, and like and Heaton and Eric and TJ, and I'm like, let's go. So I'm flanking. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, we're gonna infantry the fuck out of some shit today. And we went running, and I jumped onto the trail. No sooner had I launched and landed on the trail, and I was like, And I stopped, and like everybody else stopped with me, and I like looked to my left and right, and I'm like, this is a bad idea. Let's not do this. Let's not. If we're gonna flank, I don't mind flanking, but let's not do it on this trail. And we would come back to that trail days later, and yep, there was the rock formation, which I hadn't seen at the time, and there was just multiple IEDs all down it. So we got really lucky. We jumped, like, no fear, no nothing, ready to go. And like, when we got back to the cop later on, Alex was like, dude, it was awesome. What were you doing? But it was awesome. And I was like, yeah.
I was doing infantry
like,
shit.
Yeah, he was like, we got really lucky. And I was like, yeah, let's not do that again.
And that was a lesson we had to learn as a company. I mean,
Very
everybody
hard.
wanted to do that early on. It's like, we're gonna find, fix, flank, and fuck up the enemy. And we're like, and we did it. We made the same mistake on our first firefight, except it was just I almost drowned instead of almost getting blown up.
Yeah,
But like,
very, very hard lessons, man.
you just can't employ traditional infantry tactics in Panjwai. It's not
Absolutely.
possible.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the platoon picks up, and I went back and I was like, oh, fuck it, man, it's a lost cause.
Yeah.
Platoon picks up, and okay, well, let's go look for these fuckers. And they went and we like took a quick tactical pause to kind of figure out what the next move was going to be. And Eddie and Dino, who Chris doesn't normally like do the clearing. I remember it's usually Manny Mora with Morales, and then Eric and Heaton. Those were usually our two main clearing teams, but for whatever reason, Chris had it, and we were using the Minehound. So again, like, you had the Goldie, which just kind of searched for copper wire.
Yeah.
The Chia and the Valen were like traditional metal detectors. Just I think the Chia is Italian.
Chia was the carbon rod one.
Okay, and then the Minehound, so I use GPR, so ground penetrating radar, and a metal detector could be used in conjunction with each other, or one or the other, whatever, however you wanted to dial it in. No, Chris had it, and he was sweeping out. Boom! I'm like, oh, they're playing my song, and I went running forward, and like Eddie Adams was coming out of the smoke. He's coming out of the smoke, and he's like, he doesn't want to touch his face, but he wants to touch his face, and like he's just bleeding from the face, and like, you know, his iPro. Luckily we weren't idiots, so he was wearing his iPro, which saved him. But like, you know, clearly you could see his face was fucked up, and like he's coming walking out, and all he was saying was like, Dino, like, not yelling for him, but like, if he couldn't see at the time, for whoever was coming forward, like, go check on Dino. And like, I was like, okay. And so I ran past him, like, into the smoke, and then there's the fucking crater. And, you know, Dino was in there, and he's kind of like, he was on his back, clearly not aware of anything that was happening or anything like that. Is just his body was in instinctual survival mode, and like he was just trying to crawl. It looked like he was swimming, like a turtle swimming, like, or a turtle trying to flip itself back. Like, you know, his body armor was there, and his arms were moving, but his legs weren't. Well, one was missing, and then the other one was just extremely fucked up. And like his helmet, when it blew up, his helmet, it went back, and the chin strap just came and smashed his face, and like his nose was like flat against his face. And his chin strap had just destroyed his face. And like, you know, he was obviously, you know, not coherent. No. You know, but he was wearing his combat diaper. And like, it blew out a little bit, and like you could see the yellow fiber in the Kevlar. But like, his cock and balls were there. And, you know, like, his asshole was there. Everything was in the right place. Like, it blown out a little bit, but just enough to like expose the Kevlar in there.
Right.
And so, it's at that moment, like, we had bitched incessantly about this stupid combat diaper, this Kevlar diaper.
Yeah.
Who knew it actually worked, man? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it actually worked. And like, from that point forward, like, I never really had any problem with it. I honestly never had any problem with it when I
had
wasn't.
to break them in.
Yeah.
When they were brand new, they were fucking awful.
Once it was broken in, I honestly couldn't even tell I was wearing it. And
Same.
like, it helped save like the seat of your pants as you were like crawling over walls and stuff like that.
Oh, it didn't help mine.
But Dino was down there, and like, his body was just an automatic survival. And I was yelling, medic, and I turned around to see Doc Doan was there. I'm like, I had some serious hesitations about like Doc Doan, because I knew Alex Burner. And I knew Alex Burner would like go to the end of the earth for this platoon. I didn't know Doan. I had never seen him before. And he's just some big, goofy, corny dude, like clearly older than most of the dudes. I mean, I was 33 or 34 at the time. I aged very well.
Listen, I'm 34 right now. I would not have wanted to be in Panjwai at 34.
I'm 40 something right now. 43, 40, whatever. I had hesitations about him because like, he just didn't look like it. But he had just lit a cigarette. He was already on the side of Dino, and like, had the cigarette just like hanging out of his lip, and like, cool as the day, man, cool as the breeze. Tourniquet on Dino, like working on Dino, and like, there was nothing for me to do. So let's start working on this extraction. Like, the 9-line goes, I almost cut somebody's finger off. I don't know whose it was, but Dino carried this big stupid, like,
I remember that thing.
Yeah, like this stupid big knife.
Yes,
it was
ridiculous.
Like on his chest or something. And like, you look ridiculous. Like a giant Rambo knife.
We all told him he looked ridiculous too. It wasn't just you.
And like, how the fuck are we gonna get this dude out of here? We can't go forward because I don't know. Yeah. We don't know what's forward. Like, behind us is the village proper, and like, you could see the rock formation, and that's kind of the start of how we figured out. Third platoon figured out like the rock formation thing when we trying to figure out if you're on the good side or the bad side. And like, we're on a creek right here, but on the other side is a field. But like, we had to chop down this wall, so we're like out there breaking the wall. I had his knife, and I'm like chopping away at it, and somebody put their finger there, their hand there to grab and rock at the same time as I was chopping.
Oof.
And I think it was De Leon, but it was the hard knuckle gloves. And like, and went like whoosh, and like, it went, and like, it's like stuck in the hard plastic, and we like look at each other and like look at his hand, and we're like, holy shit! Now I got two people there. Yeah. Now,
is this how you cut your finger off in 2017?
I cut my own finger. I'm like, oh fuck, dude. And like, luckily he was wearing the hard shell, and like, nothing. But we like looked at each other and we laughed about it later on.
Those hard shell knuckle gloves were all the rage. I had a pair. I loved them.
Yeah. No, I had the soft assault gloves, the green ones. They were the best gloves that I've ever worn.
It's just, it's one of those weird things about combat. Like, if you think about it, it's like, I don't want to wear fucking gloves in combat. That sounds stupid. But like, not wearing gloves in combat was stupid.
You're dumb.
You're real dumb. Like, your hands would come back raw. Like, oh man, it was such a pain in the ass because it was so hot.
Yeah,
but like, man, to never have to touch a hot surface.
I don't wear gloves now. Like, if I'm putting on gloves, it's fucking cold outside.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad I wore them when we were there. But I've gotten to the point now I can't hardly stand to wear them just because I think
also wear gloves
being
out in the woods.
115 degrees and wearing gloves.
Just because of like poison ivy, like moving shit. Like, whatever.
For the same reason. It's environment. It's not even like fire protection. I didn't give a shit about that. I knew those weren't going to save my hands if I got caught on fire. But it's like, I don't want to touch like this hot freaking surface. I don't want to get cut by whatever literal feces are in this dirt wall. Like, I don't know.
Or you're shooting your weapon. You know, your weapon gets so hot.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's a good point too, yeah. And you
don't
have to worry about if you accidentally grab the barrel or something because you got a freaking gloves on.
Yeah. So
it was our gloves tangent.
We got him. We did get him medevaced out pretty quick and easy. But you know, like part of the good thing was, you know, while he was missing one leg, the other one was like split open all the way down, and like it was fucking.
The thing about Dino, man, it's like the nature of his wounds were severe.
Yeah,
like that could have been.
Yeah,
okay, we could have lost him very easily.
Yeah. Any other kind of like trail or something, he probably would have bled out pretty fast, I think. But because of the trail that we were on, it like had all this dirt inside, and it kind of packed his wound, and he didn't bleed. Yeah, I don't even remember his left leg bleeding at all, and it was split open. I mean, I could see it. It was split the fuck open. It was not awesome to see. No.
We observed the same thing with a couple of our amputees as well. It's just like that blast trauma. It gives you a little bit of extra time to get that tourniquet on because the body just like reacts.
Oh yeah, it goes into automatic shock. The arteries kind of retract. And
then, like you said, that dirt and the combination, like with the body retracting, and then the dirt just kind of like gets sucked up in it. I mean, it's not something pretty to look at, but I mean, I treated 2 amputations, and I don't remember hardly any blood at all.
Yeah. Luckily,
it's true.
Nothing more than if I were to like literally cut my finger in the kitchen.
Yeah. You know, we medevaced him and got him out, and I think somebody somewhere decided that it was probably not a good idea to continue this patrol. And, we made our way back to the trucks, back to the VDO, the vehicle drop off, and got in and returned to Sperwan Ghar. You know, the platoon was very fragile. And I think
this wasn't long after Luxmore.
No,
not very long at all.
And I think you guys have talked about it before. It was something like every 6 days. You know, somebody was getting hurt, and like, you know, you're kind of just like looking around, like, whose day is it today?
Yeah.
You know, and Dino was, again, like, I think he had been in every platoon. He knew fucking everyone. Knew everyone. It's just like that prototypical New Yorker. I'm like, so his had a big impact also. I'm like, third platoon was extremely fragile. You know, because now at this point, like, you know, you lost BJ, Jay, Dino, you know, Alex Heaton took like Brazos especially hard because he was with them. You know, like
it was a rough stretch. I mean, it's weird because we had it was pretty steady after that, you know, throughout the rest of the deployment, but that stretch from like the end of May to like the middle of July, I mean, brutal. I don't even think about that as the worst part of the deployment because that wasn't when my worst day was. But like when I go back and I think about it, like you're right. It's like literally every 3 to 6 days. You know, it's Brazos, engineers, you know, Luxmore, Jay, Dino, Frost, Wallach, all these guys. I mean, I forget sometimes about the guys that got hit because there were so many in that period.
Yeah,
I used to tell them we could field our own Paralympic team, with the amount of people that we had lose, and then then coming back to Stewart and like there's all the great debate about was he above the knee or below the knee amputation, or like I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what the
he's
fuck
arguing
difference
with
could it
Dennison,
possibly
which is
matter?
Still
worse.
missing a
Yeah,
leg.
Like you guys
Him and
are
Dennison
insane.
would argue all the time because
Yeah.
Dennison was a double. He's
Yeah.
like, well, double's worse. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but you're double below the knee. It's
Yeah,
way
double-
better.
yeah.
He's like, what are you talking about? I don't have any legs. Fuck you.
Yeah, like this is, you guys know this is like the most asinine argument like anybody's ever had. Like, we're
I
just
love
talking
it. And the
dumb shit.
drunker they got, it went from like being like kind of serious to being like very serious. Like they were hammered
Yeah.
and like
Cause you don't know, man.
fuck
don't
you,
know.
man.
No.
I'm gonna go get some drinks. We're gonna drink it out of my leg. It's
Yeah,
like-
because I think like what Todd was like, right? Todd was in and out the hot. Like they just put a Band-Aid on him and he was good to go, right?
yeah, that dude ran
Yeah.
the Army 10 miler.
Yeah.
Like he was hit October 4th. He ran the Army 10 miler, which is in like November.
Yeah. We just had it.
I was like, what the fuck, man?
You know, yeah.
It's
People
funny.
are weird, man. Combat
That's
brings
the
out the
nature of it.
weirdness in you, man.
It really does.
Just because, you know, like one of Dino's legs has like I had a blast in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
'Cause I saw Dino. I flew out to California to party with Tom and Chris and Sean McCaffrey. I was sitting on my couch one day, like drunk as fuck, and they like FaceTime me. They, man, I wish you could be here, and I was like, I was drunk already. I was like,
Give me 6 hours.
ticket bought, I'll be there. And they're like, there's no way. And I'm, no, I'm serious. Like, here's my ticket. I'll be there. They came and picked me up. I can't believe you're here. Like, yeah, I told you I'd be here, man. we drank for 3 days or whatever it was. And like, it was awesome to be with those three. Like, you know, one of them, I was pretty sure I didn't even know if he was gonna live. And the worst day of my life was the last time I saw him. Nah, you know, so it was good, man.
Yeah. Those bonds are pretty. It's I don't know, it's kind of interesting how it's been 10 years since we were there, and if it happens every time. Like Dave Salvador's coming next week, and like I know, and as soon as he gets here, it's gonna be like I saw him yesterday at freaking Fort Stewart.
Yeah,
You know, it's just incredible how. And I'm sure that there's other groups that have these type bonds too. It's not just combat, but it does seem particular to combat. It's like you see that person, and I could be a lawyer, and you could be working at a fast food restaurant. The other guy could be a freaking professional basketball player now. But at that moment, it's like we're all E4s and freaking Sperwan Ghar all over.
yeah.
right
Back at Fort Stewart.
So like as all this stuff was kind of going on, you had Dino, Jay, Pennick, Lily, Luxmore, all that's kind of going. And you're still relatively new to Sperwan Ghar. You're obviously not new to war, but you have this background of experience. Multiple tours to Afghanistan, Iraq, like an extremely seasoned NCO. What was kind of going through your mind as you were seeing how it was affecting your guys, and B, just like your personal perception of like what was going on?
Man, I couldn't believe just how furious it was. It wasn't. That is not typical. Even like out in RC East, obviously you have the exceptions, and like this felt more like the exception versus the rule. No, like it was every day, almost every day. Like you went out. So I remember when I went to go get Tom and McCaffrey and Morales and Pyfro. It's like, bro, this ain't no fucking joke, man. Like this is like every day. Like, and I kind of felt bad, because they were asking me to come over, and I didn't want to feel like I was responsible for either their death or some kind of catastrophic injury. And then like the spirit of 3rd Platoon, like we were the misfits, man. Like you could go anywhere and you'd see the fucking skull and bone. Like the skull and misfit was spray painted everywhere. Stewart or on Sperwan Ghar, like
Every cop in the freaking horn.
It's painted everywhere. Now Dino, the one who does it all, is gone. The platoon was I just like the spirit was not there, and I couldn't believe it, and I was just trying to, it wasn't the same third that I knew, and there was a lot of people because now we were already short to begin with, and I'm by short I mean like extremely short.
Extremely short, yeah.
To begin with, and now I have there's two squads, not me because it's Lance Armstrong or Lance Anderson's platoon, but third platoon has like all these new faces to include Anderson. All these squad leaders, all these people, and I'm like, it kind of seemed unfamiliar, but most of what I knew was there. And, it was heartbreaking to see, how sad, or not sad, but, just how kind of like hesitant they were to want to go out the wire and like do it. And it was more like, I felt more like, okay, we've seen combat, I've had my fill, like let's go home, let me pack my toys up and go home,
right?
Versus like, there's still a job to do, we still have things to do, we still have to look out for one another. It wasn't like anything I had seen before. And again, like I'd seen like platoons of like Fob Apache, and like Atamaya. If you don't know like the names of like Atamaya or Sahar City and Baghdad, like those are two of the deadliest places on the face of the earth. And I still hadn't seen it, like I did on Sperwan Ghar, and it wasn't just exclusive to. I didn't feel like it was just exclusive to third platoon.
No, it definitely wasn't.
I felt like first was in the the hurt locker. The only ones who I didn't feel like were hurting as bad was like the tankers, who were fucking awesome. Like,
yeah, they were.
I like talk shit about people all you want to, but like, I was never like, oh, this dude's not a grunt or whatever. Like, you obviously haven't fought enough. Like, I fought with a mechanic who won the Silver Star. Like, the MOS is immaterial. It's about that dude in that fight. And those tankers were awesome. They're fucking, what are they, like a 16-man platoon?
Not even, like 12.
Yeah. Like out here expected to try to help us out. But they were the only ones I felt like weren't feeling those effects. But they also like, I wasn't wholly aware of what they were doing or what they were going through either. So I'm not sure if that answers the question.
No, it does. And I think you brought up a really good point about the size. And we've talked about it before, how undermanned we were.
Yeah.
And I haven't understood until the process of the podcast how relevant our manning situation was to how difficult the deployment was for us, for two reasons. One, as far as I can tell, we're the only unit in Panjwai, Sperwan Ghar, in its entire history that we did squad level missions. Because usually we went out with like a squad plus, squad plus the normal battalion, like the more normal company, like medic, RTO, platoon sergeant, platoon leader. Every other company I've talked to that's been in the horn, they always went out like strong, 40 dudes every time. Yeah. And, that means they went out more, but they had so many people. So when they took a hit, not disparaging if they took a hit, but like 1 out of 40 is a much lower percentage than 1 out of 15.
Yeah. And
so when you lose one guy and your entire patrol element is 15 guys every day, okay, now you have 14 guys. So now not only did you just see your buddy get fucked up, but now his weight is now distributed amongst everybody. Because like we have to take the same amount of stuff out. Yeah, so if you weren't a clearing guy yesterday, now you're a clearing guy. Or now you're carrying a Thor, or now you're carrying this, or now you're carrying that.
Yeah. I seem to remember at one point, like, and it was before like that last push of replacements came in, like Jason Swindle, Greg Hendricks and stuff, before they came in. The platoons had 4 Vics, right? Four trucks each, just about.
I think so, 4 or 5.
I seem to remember that. Right. I could put, we could put our 4 trucks gunner TC, load everybody up, terp, FO, RTO, medic, dog handler, and dog, and still have empty seats.
Mm-hmm.
And like that just seems,
is that crazy?
Yeah, that just seems like, and that was the platoon, like the entire platoon. And we would get out and dismount, and I'm dismounting with like eight
guys,
9,
yeah, 10
guys. And like,
it's mind blowing. Right. Yeah, yeah. And I again, coming from the perspective, this was my first infantry deployment, and my only infantry deployment. So I had convinced myself, hey, this is normal. This is what combat's like. We always do it as a squad. And thank God we had Kitching, who's like, he had this, he's from Ranger Regiment. He's used to doing squad level ops. So it was natural for him to take less and do more. But like, talking to the other units that have served in Panjwai and at Sperwan Ghar, and I'm like, you took how many people on a patrol?
That's not just Panjwai, man. Like, I was pretty sure there was an order across Afghanistan that was like, and it was affecting us in 2008, like, where like the minimal that could go outside the wire was like 22 guys or something like that.
Yeah,
that was the minimum that could go out, and like, by then you might as well just take the whole fucking platoon,
right?
And for like for us, that was a whole platoon.
Dude, I don't think we ever had 22 people.
No, yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah. That is.
I mean, I think when first platoon, when I think we deployed in the day one, I think we had 27 dudes.
Yeah,
I think was the number in total,
and that was after getting all the guys from the other units,
and that was after getting plussed up from the dudes from 2-7 and stuff. So. Yeah, 27 guys, and then a squad of those went to the district center. So we had 2 squads.
Yeah.
Plus a PL and platoon sergeant, RTO, and medic. So we had 4 people that were more or less on every patrol.
Right.
So, yeah. And every platoon was like that. So like same for 3rd, same situation.
Yeah. And That's crazy. Tried to go on every patrol. And I led in the vehicles because I had already been all over the AO. Like I knew the AO frontwards and backwards, so I didn't really need a map too much. I just needed to know where we were going, and I knew how to get there. No, like I led them all, and it was it was after I hit those 2 IEDs out in Najat, and then I hit a legit Russian anti-tank mine.
I remember
on
that.
South Brown, that Low ordered.
Oh yeah,
but it caught my truck on fire. So we drove it down to there was like an ANA compound at the end of Brown South, right?
Yeah.
And I had to jump out once we got there, and then like throw dirt on it and shit to like put it out. So that's how I kind of like put that fire out. But it was a legit anti-tank mine, a Russian anti-tank mine, and it Low ordered. And they were able to go pull the prints and everything off of that.
That's insane.
So we could go hunt that dude down, and we went to go hunt him down.
Insane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was because I kept blowing up trucks. They were like, look, you're not gonna be in the front no way.
You're done.
Yeah.
So the other squad leaders, because I was the only one who wasn't like in that squad leader room. I seem to remember like Garver, Adams, and Maddox all slept together.
Gotcha.
And I think they were like, it was reasoned something like an NCO room or something like that. And it was before, I think at the time Maddox was like a team leader. But whatever the case was, like I was with Heaton, and like they were like, you're not going to be in the front anymore. You can pick up the rear truck. And, I was actually the last truck. I was actually in the rear truck that got hit with the RPG when Jason got killed.
Yeah, and that day you guys were out there to help us recover the dozer, right? Because we had been out there all day. And
yeah, because we were on QRF.
Mm-hmm.
3rd was on QRF, and your guys' like patrol was to do that clearing of. They were like to knock down the berm and those trees, right? Because the wood line that kept shooting at the ALP.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Nah. we heard earlier that the bulldozer got hit with the tree-borne IED, and I was like, well, that's a strange tactic, but that didn't. I mean, hey, this war's changing all the time, so why not a tree-borne IED?
It's not unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Why not have an IED in the trees, like pointed down at a gunner?
Yeah.
Like gunner, you just pop the gunner. Like it makes sense to me.
Yeah. Turns out it was an RPG, but we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, didn't know that at the time. And Orba, right, the mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
The dude who's driving the dozer, he got his bell rang, but decided he could keep pushing. Right?
Yeah. I think he got swapped out. I think McGuigan swapped out with him, but they needed another dozer because it fucked the dozer up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure how or why third got called up. But whatever the case was, we kind of just went out. We're on Brown, like kind of pulling security with you guys, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like we were out there for a while.
If I remember correctly, and this may correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they were in the process of recovering one dozer with the other dozer so that they could then get the second dozer back up and running and finish the mission. And you guys were out there to pick up the busted dozer and drive it to Zangabad.
And bring it back in?
Or bring it back into Sperwan Ghar, one of those things. If I remember correctly. It's kind of hazy to me. But,
yeah, I honestly, I couldn't tell you. I just remember we were on third. We were on QRF, and we got called up, and we were out there, and like it's me. Hunter Blackman is driving for me. In the dismount seat behind me was Jason Swindle, and the dismount seat behind Hunter was Sean McCaffrey, and then gunning for me was Jason Hedrick.
And Hedrick and Swindle were very new at this point, like maybe a week.
Yeah, Hedrick and Swindle were new. I think it was longer than a week because I'd taken Jason down into Big Reggae, into Little Reggae, into different day and night patrols. So I'm pretty sure. It was longer than a week. I really can't remember.
And they came over with Dennison, right? At the same time?
Oh, they all showed up at the same time? They might have.
So then that would have been like early September. So they'd been there about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks.
Probably. Yeah. That might be right. And, we were just kind of shooting the shit. And I was the last vehicle. And so, like, Greg is pointed to the rear. He's got rear security and, like, and it was an open turret, so I was there, and like we're just kind of shooting the shit, and I was like, looking out the window, and I don't think we probably weren't being the most vigilant people ever because like fuck, dude, there was like 11 trucks out there.
Yeah.
There's like heavy weapons.
Two full platoons of trucks.
Yeah, there was heavy weapons all over the place. You guys were dismounted too, right?
Some of us. I was in the truck right in front of you. I was the first platoon truck in front of you, and I think because we were kind of like in parallel. Yeah, it's like we were intermingled. Our formation wasn't.
Because I was the last truck, but I was the last truck in the formation, but the rest of the platoon was way forward.
Yeah.
Now, I seem to remember that first platoon was dismounted out there.
Mm-hmm. It's a squad dismounted.
Yeah, and we're just kind of like shooting the shit in the truck, just like you do every time. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing you know, like the lights went out. Boom. I didn't hear it. I didn't feel it or any. I was asleep.
Just lights out.
Yeah, I was slumped over in my seat. And, and I'm not sure how long I was out for when I woke up. And like, man, I couldn't anything.
Right.
I could not function. Like my head was being fucking crushed. I just couldn't. I couldn't. And like, I can't remember if somebody was talking or not. And like, I just couldn't focus. I couldn't make out what the hell was even happening. And then Hedrick, he reached back behind him, so he grabbed my shoulder and he shook it, and he's like, "Sergeant, I think my leg is missing." And that like fucking snapped me out of it. Just like that. And like the fog in my brain dissipated, and like boom, like there was clarity. And like I still couldn't see everything because the cabin was filled with smoke, and it was just acrid and like pungent and like burning my nose. It's like fucking thick, dude. Like thick. And then it had turned kind of brown from the blood that evaporated, and all I could taste was blood. But I couldn't, I was spitting. I was like spitting, but there was no blood. I could just taste it. And I was like, well, this is fucking weird. But I looked around, and the first person I saw was Sean. He was in the dismount seat behind the driver, behind Hunter Blackman. So Sean was like holding his neck because the RPG had came. Well, I said, what the fuck happened? And Hunter said, I think we hit an IED. And I said, bullshit, dude, we've been here. Like, that was a recoilless rifle. Because at the time, like, a recoilless rifle was the only thing I knew that could punch through. I felt pretty confident, like, the vehicle could handle an RPG. And I had faith in the RPG cage.
Yeah.
Boy, that was stupid. But, like, at the time, the recoilless was the only thing I could think of that, like, could actually get through. And so, I said, fuck, dude, that was a recoilless, man. And I looked around, saw Sean, like, he's, like, holding, and, like, blood's coming out. So clearly he wasn't doing bad. Like, he was in shock, but he's, like, holding, like, trying to keep himself alive. And I could look at Greg, who was immediately behind me, and he was sitting down. And I was like, why the fuck is he sitting down? He's supposed to be my gunner. He's supposed to be, like, up pulling security. And, like, he was sitting down on his butt, and, like, his leg was canted in a way, like, clearly it was no longer part of his body. Or if it was, like, it was one of the nastiest breaks ever. So I knew something was wrong with him. And then Hunter had shrapnel on his neck. But he was, like, he was fine. He had some trickles of blood and shit. And, but he's, like, scrambling. He was trying to grab the CLS bag in the console, the center console, if you remember, where all the big radios and shit were.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get out of the door so he could start rendering aid. And then I kind of just looked back and I saw Jason. And, like, he was clearly dead. It punctured through the door and blew up right in his face. So it blew up right in his face and like 2 feet behind my head. And I think the way my helmet was, it kind of just deflected because it was curved, just deflected everything out. But there was no coming back from that. No, I got on the radio. I was on my platoon internal net, and I said, "Hey," I keyed it up, and I was like, "Hey, this is 3-4. I'm hit. I'm going back to Sperwan Ghar. I'm in trouble." And I didn't give anybody a chance to respond. I didn't give any more explanation than that because I knew that they would be listening on company net. So I toggled the box. I put on company, and I said, "Hey, this is 3-4. I'm hit. We're bad. I have 1 KIA codename Swindle, and I have 3 wounded. I need some fucking help. Get the medics ready. I'm coming in hot." And I told Hunter, like, get back in the fucking truck, turn this thing around, and let's go. And he got in, and he just started whipping that bit. He started whipping a bitch in that thing. And, the thing about it was, like, we were in the Mat V. The Mat V's, the door's probably, 200, 300, 400 pounds.
Easily, yeah.
It was blown open. It wouldn't close. So Jason's body was, like, in danger of falling out. Clearly I couldn't have that, and I wasn't going to allow that. So I had to like hold on the cloth handle, right? That's what we
Yeah.
I was holding it because it wasn't like a hard handle. It was like the cloth handle. I was holding it. And like as the door would rip out of my hand, I would have to tell Hunter to slam on the brakes, and we'd have to slam on the brakes so that the door could come flying back and I could grab the handle again. And we had to do that the whole way back to the cop, from the ALP checkpoint to the all the way to the cop. And like, you know, the old Afghan dude at the gate, he didn't want to open the gate. Like, he was taking his sweet ass fucking time, and like Hunter is like pounding on the horn. I'm like, you know, I'm surprised he didn't punch through the fucking truck. And you know, the dude finally figured out what the fuck was going on. And you know, he moved the spikes or the C wire, and you know, we came flying around the LZ into the aid station. And again, you know, like I said before, I knew it was bad. Like, I'd seen tons of people get killed by this point. That was probably the worst kill I've ever seen. And I knew it was bad. Like, you know, we were coming in and like slamming on the brakes when we were fast and furious. And somebody, you know, a combat vet I respected, I really can't remember who it was, but it was somebody that I respected and had a good relationship with. I knew it was bad when he came flying around the corner and like the door ripped out of my hand, but I was good to let it go anyways, and it ripped out of my hand, and like Jason's body was slumped over, and like he saw it, and I saw this happen, and like he saw it, and like his knees went weak and he buckled, and I like opened the door, and I couldn't do anything. Like, at this point I was completely tapped out. I opened the door and I just fucking fell out, man. Fell out from the top of the Mat V.
It's quite a tumble.
You know, and they're like, you know, they're trying to come to me too, and I'm like, no, just please get them. You know, like we like that aid station, like not world class by any means, but like the people in there, the PA, like were it not for that PA, like there would have been 3 dead people. They treated and stabilized Hedrick. So he was good. You know, he's an amputee. It turns out he was a double amputee essentially. So it was a RPG 7, SA 7, right? Like the tungsten steel penetrator came and punched right through the door and took off his leg and kept traveling and took off his hand. And so his like thumb was seared to the rod. Like, and we recovered the rod in whole, like it was like the rod. But he was fine, you know, not fine, but he was stable. Sean, poor Sean, man, you know, he's this little white kid from he lived in Atlanta, but he's from South Africa.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's from South Africa, and he came to the States when he was like 12 or something like that. You know, he was just an awesome kid, man. He was bad. We lit a cigarette for Max, and like Hedrick was out of it. Like we had a fentanyl lollipop like taped on him. He was out. And, you know, it took 3 birds to get everyone out. And they were trying to put me on a bird as a precaution or whatever it was. And I told them no. I was scared, not for me. I was scared that third would just like completely shut down, and so I told them no. I needed to stay. You know, and I wish I have mixed feelings about it a little bit. And like, I wasn't able to take care of myself. But again, I felt more attached to them and to make sure that they were going to be okay. We put Jason in a body bag. And then they landed a hero bird for him. I think me and Anderson Somebody else. I can't remember who the other two were. We carried him out to the bird, put him on the bird, saluted the hero bird, and third had to go back out, minus the five of us and my truck. They were right back out. And that was something everybody would have to deal with later on. You know.
Well, I mean, we really appreciate you telling that story, because we've not had the chance to talk about Swindle's story a lot, because none of the folks we've talked to have been there. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things that stand out to me about that particular day. One is just how long we were out there.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of asking for it.
Yeah.
Sadly,
I didn't realize that. But yeah.
Yeah. And how quick you guys were. So like I'm sure in your mind's eye, it was probably a long time from you got knocked out to when you guys turned that thing around. I mean, Curtis backed me up here, but I'd say maybe 30 seconds.
If even that.
Yeah. I just remember hearing an explosion. I was driving. I was the truck in front of Curtis, and I looked in the mirror on the TC side, and I could see the dust from the explosion, and it wasn't that long. You guys were turning around and heading back, and I remember the radio call. And the thing that sticks out to me the most, naturally, is it was a couple hours later, we were back at the base, and I was out there next to the truck was still parked there, and the commander came out, and I guess he had to get some pictures for the investigation or whatever would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the only dudes out there were dudes from third, and a couple guys from third out there smoking cigarettes, and he said, I need somebody to get pictures of where the RPG hit the truck. And I said, I got it, sir. I'll take care of it, because I didn't know Swindle very well, so I had some distance, Yeah. And so I appreciate you coming on here and like telling the story in full, because it's a story that needs to get the attention to detail. And I mean, I couldn't imagine being there, man.
It was brutal. And like the thing was is like Hedrick and Swindle, they weren't like new to Fort Stewart or something. I'm pretty sure Jason came from Beco. Like he was a squad leader in Beco.
Mm.
And then Greg was he was in Battalion Mortars. He was a Chuck. He was in Battalion Mortars. They weren't like new to 164 or anything like that. They were on Kandahar, and like the company, the way I think it happened was like the company's like, we need some help. Like I need some bodies, and they volunteered, to come over, and like they put me to be the last truck, to stop getting things blown up, and I was the last truck, and I still fucked it up. Greg Hedrick was incredibly salty. Like he was really salty about it. He was not a happy wounded warrior. But I'm not sure, what he expected. I feel like everyone knew what the score was at Sperwan Ghar. He volunteered, like knowing what would happen, but
I mean, I wish I watched Eric and Todd and Russell and Dino and all these guys go through their process of recovery, getting blown up, and to handle it with such grace.
Yeah.
And to live their lives and have kids and wives, and to take this horrible situation and just have this really fulfilling life. I don't think I would have had it in me. I think if it had happened to me, I would have been more along the lines of Greg, and just, I mean, to be completely honest, I don't think I could have handled it with that much grace.
Same.
I would have been
100%.
a bitter old man, and probably would have, eaten a shotgun by now. I have so much respect for those guys that took this horrific thing and they're living their lives. So much respect for them.
I do, man. I do. I just, the examples were those guys, like, he just, I mean, it was like vitriol, dude. Like, it was just, he was so salty about it, and it was just like an immediate turnoff. And I wanted to be there, for him. But and like his wife, she was better about it and stuff like that. But he was so incredibly, I mean, it was like hate, brother. It was like hate, man. Not, it's not, it was really hard. And like, it just didn't sit well with me at the time. And I haven't talked to him in many moons. Since we went home. And I'm sure that makes me a bad, terrible person, but
not by any accounts. There's plenty that I had close bonds with that I haven't spoken with either, so I couldn't hold that against anybody personally.
Yeah. And then, like a year later, me and Dino, there was a group of us, man. We went to Arkansas, and we hung out with Chelsea Swindle, his wife. For a few days, we went to Little Rock to see his brothers. Dude, like, his brothers are incredible, bro. They're like, all three of them are ex-vets, like wounded warriors, all Purple Heart recipients and shit. And like, they have a band called the Swindle Boys, and we saw them play. Dude, they were amazing. It was badass. I mean, it was truly badass. And that was, a year later, and 2013, we went to go honor him and like be one with the family and shit. And it was amazing. It was amazing.
That's another thing that stands out to me. I do consider Pinnock, Lilly, and Brazos as bayonets. They were our guys. They were with us. They died. But we don't have as close of a relationship with their families. But the Luxmores and the Swindles, how incredible those families are.
Yeah.
I know Brenda and Leonard pretty well over the years, just accidentally. And they're so selfless. They have taken, BJ's memory and have turned it into this wonderful thing. And they never stop. Yeah. They live every moment of their lives to remember him. Yeah. And Chelsea, Chelsea's just an incredible person.
Yeah.
I haven't had the opportunity to meet the rest of the family as you have, but hearing you say that, it's just like, how are these two amazing families the ones that we're deprived of?
Fucking giving so much to this country, man. It's amazing.
Why can't it be the shitheads families?
It's never the shitbag that gets caught.
Yeah, man. Yeah, good people. What a brutal tour. Like, I've never seen the carnage like that. During that air assault into, where did we go? Sketcher or Najat? Najat. Like, hearing the battle roster numbers get called up, and like, I was like, fuck, dude, that's Denison. And like, I seem to remember, I think his blood pressure getting called over to the net, it was something like 80/50. And I was like, fuck, dude, like, he's gonna die. Who could live through that? And like, were he not, the absolute physical animal that he was? No, he would not have. Like, he'd be dead. Dead as fuck.
Yeah.
He would have drowned in that creek.
Yeah, he
before
only
we ever
lived
had a chance.
because of his physical fitness.
100%.
Hearing the others, the only one I couldn't place was Todd. But I barely knew.
He was brand new too. He'd only been there a month.
I didn't know
a month or so.
So I couldn't place his battle roster number. And like, how brutal that fight was, and like, you're like face to face with these dudes as you're you're fighting, like trees are getting cut down and branches are raining, like bullets smacking like inches and feet in front of your face, on the wall, like having a firefight with dudes while you're trying to throw one of those fucking exploratory charges out there, like it gets nuts, man. Like there was nothing in there that was normal. Like humping grape row after grape row after grape row. Like I didn't even know they grew grapes in that stupid country. You know, and like we saw them grow from like vine to like grapes, and then drying out into raisins, and like
the whole thing. Yeah,
it was nuts. Like pomegranate orchards. I'd seen pomegranates and watermelons before in Afghanistan, but like you know, just ripping them off the tree and like having to go at them and stuff like that. That place was absolutely
weed plants
brutal.
10 feet tall and
I'd seen that before too.
Acres and acres and acres of marijuana and poppy.
Yeah.
Man, like especially talking to you and Kitching and like Nance and these guys that had some previous deployments, you know, like it's really humbling for me to hear like super seasoned dudes talk about how brutal it was in Panjwai, and it's been such a weird experience. Like Curtis said, I mean, for all intents and purposes, that was my first real deployment, you know. But to revisit it and see it through this lens of guys who have had a lifetime of experiences, it makes you appreciate what was going on down there, man.
No.
And so I really, on a personal level, man, I really appreciate you just kind of like keeping us humble and keeping us checked and just like letting us realize like what was going on there was an exception, like you said, you know.
Yeah, that was not normal. That was anything but normal. And like I knew it was bad. I consider myself a pretty steady kind of dude, man. Like I don't get rattled. And like by, you know, it was something by like late September, October, like before we were going out the wire, like I was shaking. And I wouldn't calm and steady until the shooting started, because then I was shaking.
It's autopilot.
And then like the shooting would start and I'd calm down. And I was like, okay, I know I'm okay now. So I know it was rough because I think Price added it up one time, didn't he? It's like 193 firefights over, you know,
something
not over the 9
It added
months.
up to almost one every day. Pretty much once fighting
Across
season
the
started,
company.
whoever was outside the wire was in a gunfight. Somebody somewhere was in a gunfight.
I mean, it was every fucking day. It was nuts. And like, God, like that was an experience I couldn't possibly take away. Like it was incredible. It was incredible to witness, to be a part of. I was in Fayetteville at Bragg, because that's where I was before, and I went to go pick my son up. We went to a baseball game. They have a minor league farm team here, and there's a dude, and he was wearing a Defend Sperwan t-shirt. I immediately walk up. I'm like, hey, were you at fucking Sperwan Ghar? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, dude. And we talked. That was the company that he was the first sergeant of the company that relieved us.
Thomas
there, and like they have Defend Sperwan, like the movie or something.
They were working on a documentary called This Is Nowhere. It never got made, but we are having the guy that was making it on in this season.
Nice.
So I'm kind of hoping maybe he can come on and give us some input, and maybe it'll kind of get that project back on track, because it was looking really good.
Nice.
They had an interesting one.
Dude I'd never met before, like immediate bond over fucking Sperwan Ghar, over a man-made mountain, like not even a mountain, a pile of dirt. And, like an immediate kinship, and like you can look at each other and like shake your head and like no, like that guy gets it. You know. Oh my God.
And it's you know, obviously throughout this whole process, that's been something we've noticed. You know, we didn't plan to tell other people's stories. We were just going to talk about 2012 Bico. That was the plan.
Yeah.
But there were so many people that have such an attachment to this place.
Dude, if you could
Sperwan
get
Ghar in
fucking Rusty,
particular.
what's that dude's name?
Rusty Bradley?
Yeah, if you could get Rusty Bradley on here, that'd be fucking amazing.
We're already committed. We're going to Dubai to do an interview with him.
Shut the fuck up.
100%.
Are you?
Yeah.
Dude, that is
We were
incredible.
supposed to go like a month or two ago, but the
Yeah, we're
COVID
supposed to do it in
restrictions
September,
put the
but
hammer
yeah.
down on us.
Tell
We're
him.
looking at March.
I mean, he don't know me, and I don't know who the fuck he is, but like, the Lions of Kandahar is easily like, I didn't read it because somebody was like, "Hey, get ready for Sperwan Ghar, like read this book." I read it because it's like that is a story worth reading.
It's an adventure.
No,
it's the craziest like Indiana Jones shit I've ever heard. Like,
yeah,
it's
an
wild.
incredible story. No, I had to read it, and once I started reading it, I didn't stop. So he was at DHQ one time, but we missed him. We were in Sperwan Ghar.
Really?
He was there, yeah.
Oh, really?
No shit.
Yeah, but we missed him. Whatever. Anyway,
That's a bummer. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It just, and I know that a lot of guys like that surf on the Korangal have the very, very, very similar, or Helmand, very similar kind of bond over like the terrain
To the
and
places.
stuff.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty limited to certain spots. It's very powerful for
It does.
Afghanistan versus Iraq.
Yeah.
but again, like as somebody who's been on the Korangal and at the COP, the Korangal outpost, like, it is, for me, it's completely different in the Panjwai. Like, it is not every day that you're fighting in the 20 to 30 to 40 in fucking hand grenade range, for God's sakes. Like, we're out here throwing hand grenades. Who the fuck does that? This isn't World War II.
Yeah. All right.
Or the IEDs.
Multiple
I think every time I look at it, and you look at it through the frame of the IED, that's one thing that stands out to me is, they had IEDs everywhere, but it was different.
Yeah.
It would be a random charge here or there, or they were targeting vehicles, or they were really big charges, or, they were command wire. But the idea there's like, fuck you guys so much. We're not even going to waste an entire charge of explosives on you. Yeah. We're going to hold a bunch of little ones out there just so they'll take your leg off to fuck with your mind.
What kind of animal are? And then they stuffed the mason jar full of like shit particles to cause an infection.
Dirty nails and
as
like,
it's inside
fuck off,
of you. Like,
man.
What the fuck's wrong with you, man?
Nasty fuckers.
So I mean, it's psychological in it, and
100%.
it worked. Like Bayonet Company, like, heavy fucking toll, psychologically heavy toll. Even when we came back, I had dudes, they used to come to my house all the time and sleep at my house. They'd call me up at like 1 a.m. I can't sleep, and like crying, and like I go pick them up, bring them over just so they could have a sense of normalcy. And like, these dudes are like friends with my fucking son and shit. I'm like, dude, he's 6 years old. What the fuck are you guys doing? And they would sit there and like, jump on the trampoline all damn day with him. But it helped them out, man. And like, it was different. Like when I was growing up, we didn't have, vets like that. This is the first time everybody's doing this, everybody's first tour. We didn't have somebody to be like, this is what it's going to be like or whatever. I just tried to help out the dudes when we came back. I'm like, hey man, like it's going to be okay.
And to that end, we had a very exceptional company in terms of the people in it.
Yeah.
And then we had, I can echo the sentiments that you just shared about First Platoon. Chad Prindle's house on a Sunday night was full of people.
Prindle.
I mean,
Prindle, little staff sergeant guy.
Yeah.
It was Prindle.
Yeah.
Prindle was who came running around the corner.
Oh.
Now, I had thought it was Bowley, but that didn't make sense. Now, Prindle had told me once, he's like, dude, I don't know who the fuck you are, but you must have a guardian angel watching over you, because nobody deserves to live through this the way that you have.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's sweet, thank you.
Prindle had seen some crazy shit in Iraq. I mean, he was in the initial invasion, like,
such a dude, awesome dude. God, I loved him, and like somebody I truly respected. And like that's how I knew it was bad.
Yeah.
Prindle. Thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro.
No, you're good. I mean, but it goes right back to the point. You know, this is another seasoned combat vet. He has he has a wife. He has a family. Yet Sunday nights, it's half a first platoon at his house watching the new Walking Dead episode. Like Dustin Smothers is best friend with his kid. You know, like Gage. I still remember his name.
We teleconference during when the Animal Planet showed that's what is it, Glory Hounds or whatever it's called. And like it was so real, dude. It was like being there. It was like I was shaking and smoking, and I had quit smoking. Well, I only smoke in theater. You know, I smoke in theater. And like I can, as soon as we get on the plane, like I'm cold turkey. It doesn't affect me or anything. And like I was like. Like watching it, like,
I need a cigarette.
Oh my god, I need a cigarette. Like drinking, like, oh my god, can you believe this just happened? It was like being there all over again.
Yeah.
Like it was so real.
It's pretty visceral.
Yeah. And I think that I don't want to call it like that nurturing mentality of the few seasoned guys. I think that's helped the company work through a lot of the stuff. We did recently lose. Kyle McGuigan, we just lost. He took his own life. But other than that, I don't know of anybody that's actually done it. We've had some attempts, but for a company that saw as much as we did, our numbers are much lower.
Yeah,
I know a lot of the companies like 123 have had really bad problems.
A lot of our dudes withdrew inside them, like Brandon Arrett, like. Stone cold, like one of the bravest people I've ever seen in my life, man. My fucking life. Absolutely brave. He just like withdrew and disappeared inside himself. I called Wesley Young, who was our FO, and he got hurt and he acted like he didn't know me. Like Luke, you decided to disappear for a little while, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, Curtis always had me on the horn.
Yeah.
David Steffen fell off the face of the earth.
Steffen.
Yeah. Literally completely off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
I've tried. I saw TJ in Italy. I blew out a brag as part of the GRF and flew into Italy to go jump into Bulgaria. And I saw TJ there. He was in the 173rd. He was a staff sergeant or a sergeant in the 173rd. TJ, what the fuck you doing here, man? But yeah.
Well, you and I.
In
2017 in a DFAC in JBAM, like eating my fucking fat man food as a Apache pilot, look across the DFAC. I'm like,
man. That's good. Really that's living the good life, though, baby.
Dude, I was living the good life.
If I could, I would do it, in a heartbeat. And then there's people, they have it. They take it in good stride, like Denny. Like, I remember when Denny was getting ready to go run the Boston Marathon when it got bombed. You can't take this guy anyway,
He did run it that day. He was there. Rolled on it. Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Freaking did the
can't take that guy
Paralympic
anywhere. He just gets blown up all over the fucking place, man.
Dude, could you stop getting blown up?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it's I think we had a pretty exceptional company and just the right circumstance, the right people there. Just the shared experience, we were undermanned, outgunned. So you just kind of force yourselves to all just get very resilient and you become hard, strong people. And, I deployed again, you deployed again, you had deployed before. I feel a much stronger bond to everybody involved in that deployment than any other deployment I've ever been on.
My frame of reference for my entire 4.5 years in the military is the 9 months on Sperwan Ghar.
Yeah, bro.
Like
4.5 years.
A year in
twice,
Iraq.
Baby. Look at that. Those are good numbers. Those are good numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I deployed. I was in Iraq for a fucking year, dude. I was in Iraq longer before I went on leave than I was at Sperwan Ghar, and I don't think of Iraq.
Yeah, but
I do congenially, but not primarily.
Iraq was playing the long game, like they just wanted us to leave so they could go back to being Iraq,
Right.
Like they weren't really trying to mess with us anymore.
But I just don't. I mean, I never saw combat, so it was just a year of my life.
Well, my friend, I'm sure 9 months at Sperwan Ghar, you made up for it.
Oh man, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So Ronnie, as we
Shit.
the way we kind of close these things out is, and we've had a phenomenal episode. And I really appreciate everything that you've offered us. But we always give you like one more chance to say whatever you want to whoever you want, anything that's on your mind that we didn't get to talk to or get to talk about. Just kind of give you a final couple of minutes to just say whatever's on your mind.
I don't think I really have a lot. I know like Afghanistan fell. A lot of people take that personal. After 5 tours there, I mean, I've had tons of friends, get killed there, and it wasn't for nothing. I know that it wasn't for nothing. At a very minimum, you can say that since September 11th, 2001, there has not been a major terrorist attack on the United States homeland. That makes something worth it. Maybe we just didn't achieve any kind of desired intent or end state, but again, one was never defined clearly. So I would like to believe that they didn't die for nothing. They died for something, and maybe that something is still yet to be determined. But it wasn't for nothing. I refuse to believe that. In 20 years of combat and multiple tours, like what I did was for nothing. And I just wanted to do this to share with my son a little bit. He's the most important thing in the world to me. He means everything. And it really hurts my feelings that his journal that I spent years and years writing, writing my thoughts and my opinions and like what it meant is missing. But I have the same phone number I've had since I was in Hawaii. It hasn't changed, and it's done very specifically so that if somebody needs to reach out, like they can reach out. I'd literally just gotten a text like 3 days before that there was a Panjwai podcast. And I was sitting in the movie theater and like the opening credits were happening for the new Halloween movie. When you texted me, Curtis, and I was like, this is the fucking freakiest shit ever. Like, how could that possibly happen? And I just wanted to do it so my son could kind of know, because I don't talk to him about it, and just kind of let people know, Jason, Dino. Dude, Dino's fucking awesome. Like, he's doing awesome. He's such a good dude. And, for the rest of 3rd Platoon, like, those dudes went out every day. Sometimes shaky. Yeah. Sometimes
So
shaky.
were we.
But I went out with them to make sure that, hey, like, there was a steady presence. Because, the platoon and the company was really shaky for a while, like really shaky, like teetering on the edge of being combat ineffective, like really close. I appreciated Bayonet Company, like that was just like you said, Luke, like it's not just a frame of reference, but it like that is a shaping experience for life before and after. Like it could almost be like pre-Sperwan, post-Sperwan Ghar.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
And like for the two of you, like this is cool, dude. I didn't know that, you guys were doing this. Again, I just found out about it and stuff. And like, I'm sure like for a lot of people, it helps either like telling their story or hearing other stories. Rusty Bradley, if he's coming on, that's gonna be fucking epic. You guys are on Fox News. Like this is good stuff. it's good shit, man. I appreciated everybody, everyone. Like I thank you for letting me come on and waste your time. I'm sorry I wasted your time so long. Awesome.
Didn't waste a minute of it. Trust me.
No, man. This has been a great conversation. I mean, we really appreciate you coming on, man, and giving us the time, because I know you're a busy man, old First Sergeant Morgan.
Yeah. I got a company run in the morning. It's no big deal. I'll try to see if I make it or not.
Do they know how? I mean, do they know how good they got it? I don't think they know. When they get out to the real army and they get some shitbag First Sergeant, they'll figure it out.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a drill. You know, like it's not like force common. Then
it's true.
You know, like it's an infantry company, but it's not like a real infantry. It's 260 up to 260 trainees, like
right.
You know, and I got 16 drills, but like 5 or 6 of them are 11 series. The rest of them, you know, everybody else is soft skill, and like they're amazing, dude. Like they're amazing, and like those soft skill people, the soft skills, they're more killer than like the 11 series guys. I'm like, hey. Back it down a couple, like you're gonna get everybody fired. Like, relax. Yeah,
that's good shit, man. Well, we really appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, I gotta echo that myself, and yeah, it's important to have you on. I'm glad that you agreed, and I don't want to hold you back anymore from your sleep and your drive back to your company run in the morning.
Home, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ronnie, thanks again for joining us, and best of luck in your continued career.
Thanks, my friends.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Season 3 of the Panjwai Podcast. We appreciate you sticking with us all the way to the end of the episode. But just one more thing before you go, please hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure that you are following us on our social media.